The Musk-Johnson proposal is not serious. It's laughable. Extreme MAGA Republicans are driving us to a government shutdown.
Moments after he said that, Jeffries walked into a closed-door meeting with his caucus, where members chanted, "Hell no," to the new proposal. And joining me now is one of those members, Congressman Robert Garcia of California. Wow. Congressman, this has been something to watch today. And, it is interesting. There are conservatives who like to refer to the Democratic Party as the mommy party and Republicans as the daddy party. But they seem to, at this moment, have two daddies, two alternate daddies. And it's not clear who's the daddy in charge. It feels like it's Elon Musk, but is that the way it feels on the Hill?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we are beginning and witnessing the start of the Elon Musk presidency. There is no question. And Donald Trump has been regulated as now the vice president to Elon Musk's new administration. The Republican Party here in the House completely bent the knee to Elon Musk. He says something, they jump. And it's just insane and crazy that a deal that had been negotiated by Speaker Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries and the Senate was completely tanked because of Elon Musk sending out messages on X and his social media platform. And so this is complete insanity. There is now this new administration developing, at the head being Elon Musk. And the fact that we have now the richest man on the planet dictating what the United States Congress should be doing is completely insane, dangerous, and Americans should be very concerned.
There's even talk, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's always good for a weird idea, but it doesn't seem that she's the only one saying it, is floating the idea that the Speaker of the House should not even be Mike Johnson. It should be Elon Musk. Is that something that more than just she is saying among your Republican colleagues?
I mean, absolutely. I think that Mike Johnson's going to have a hard time staying on as Speaker come January, considering this complete disaster that is happening and unfolding right now in the Congress. I mean, remember, there was a bipartisan deal that was negotiated, and we're talking about $100 billion of disaster assistance that's on the table for North Carolina, for Florida, for my home state of California, all now completely gone and wiped out, because what Elon Musk really wants and what Donald Trump really wants is to eliminate that debt ceiling so that they can then transfer all of the wealth from hardworking Americans, working class people, and give it to the top 1%, to the billionaires, to Elon Musk companies, and all of their rich friends. That's what this is all about, while they gut Social Security and destroy the social safety net.
Yeah, it does feel it's giving bank heist, that they want to eliminate the debt ceiling so that they can go ahead and increase the size of that tax cut. I think it's been clear the tax cut was the point of the election for the billionaire class. But in order to get to the next step, the idea is that Trump at least nominally would have to become president. If on January 6th of next year, Elon Musk said pass nothing, he's ordered House Republicans to pass nothing until Donald Trump is inaugurated, how would that even functionally happen? If we're in a shutdown government, how does the January 6th formal transfer of power, the former acceptance of the Electoral College results play out? If Mike Johnson is not Speaker, if there is no Speaker on January 6th, our producers were trying to do some research and understand whether you could even do the January 6th ceremonial meeting.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely correct. I mean, the truth is that the Congress has to certify the election. The only way to certify an election is to have a speaker that's actually gaveling us in as a Congress. And so Donald Trump also knows that he needs to ensure that there's a speaker in place so that elections can be certified and then he can be inaugurated, of course, on Inauguration Day. And so that can turn into a complete mess if they don't figure this out. But I also want to go back to one thing you just said, which is really important. Why does Elon Musk actually not want Congress to do anything? A government shutdown for Elon Musk means that he can then focus on ensuring that debt ceiling, which is all he cares about, is not in place. He can continue to take money and wealth from middle class and working class people, give it to himself and his companies, and at the same time, he could care less about the millions of Americans who will be impacted by a government shutdown. And I think people need to understand that a government shutdown actually means that our TSA agents at our airports that are folks that are in air traffic control at our airports as well, that are millions of people aren't going to get paid during the holidays. So what Republicans want is to ensure that working class people don't get a paycheck, but then transfer their wealth to Elon Musk. That's what this is all about.
Right, and that was going to be my next question, is to go through some of the other things. I mean, the last time we had a government shutdown for a few days, you're talking about all the national parks closing, but then those staff don't get paid, all the museums in D.C. closing, and those very low-paid security guards and others don't get paid, the people who clean the Capitol. We're talking about low-wage federal workers literally going without during the Christmas holidays.
That's exactly right. And that's, I think, what's the most cruel about this absolute moment. While Elon Musk is arguing and advocating for a complete shutdown, he could care less about all those TSA agents, about folks that are cleaning our buildings, about people that need Social Security agents to be able to answer their questions. He could care less about the military, our men and women in uniform that are dependent on an actual paycheck. And remember that they actually won't get paid come that next pay holiday. And so what this really means is folks that are maybe putting presents on their credit card, when we are making choices about what presents to buy for their kids or their family during Christmas, won't have the security of knowing if they're going to get paid. And we're talking about impacts to millions of people. And by the way, the federal workforce, 85% of them work outside of D.C. So these are our neighbors across the country. And Elon Musk is a billionaire, the richest man in the world, and he's got to be stopped.
Yeah, because he would definitely get paid. When that tax cut, if they extend that tax cut, he's going to get paid big time. You know, he's getting up near trillionaire status about the amount of money he's going to be able to get from the federal government. Congressman Robert Garcia, thank you very much. Much appreciated.